Meta is cracking down on so-called cyber mercenaries. On Thursday, the owner of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp said it's banned 7 private surveillance companies from its platforms and suspended 1,500 related accounts, most of them fake. Among them, a European company called Cytrox and Israeli firms Cobwebs Technologies, and also Black Cube, which deployed spies on behalf of disgraced Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein. Meta said it sent alerts to 50,000 people, telling them they may have been targeted. The company accuses the 7 surveillance firms of hacking or using fake profiles to trick users into revealing private data. In a statement, Black Cube said it did not undertake any phishing or hacking, while Cobweb said it drew on open sources and that its products, quote, are not intrusive by any means. Other firms named could not be immediately reached for comment. Meta's announcement comes on the heels of a high-profile crackdown on spy firms like Israel's NSO Group, recently blacklisted by the U.S. government. The company hopes its ban will send a signal that the surveillance for hire industry is much bigger than just one company. It's also warned it will take action against other such companies when it finds them. Just hours after Meta's announcement, Twitter followed up with its own, saying it had removed 300 accounts from its platform.
McDonald's on Thursday said it had reached a settlement with disgraced former CEO Steve Easterbrook, forcing him to repay his severance package of more than $105 million. The agreement resolves a lawsuit in which the fast food chain claimed that Easterbrook covered up and lied about his sexual relationships with employees. McDonald's sued Easterbrook in August of 2020, 9 months after reaching a severance deal, claiming he never gave directors a complete picture of his relationships with the employees. At the time of his firing, McDonald's said it only knew of one non-physical consensual relationship. But an anonymous tip after his ouster led to the discovery of dozens of sexually explicit photos of women, including 3 employees, that Easterbrook sent to his personal email from his company account. In his response to the lawsuit, Easterbrook claimed that McDonald's had information about his relationships on its computer systems when it negotiated his severance package. McDonald's itself has faced several lawsuits alleging sexual misconduct at its corporate-owned locations, and in April said it would require new training at its restaurants to fight harassment and discrimination.
A seesaw trading session on Wall Street Thursday as the world's leading central banks move into inflation fighting mode. After vacillating between pluses and minuses, the Dow slipped 29 points, the S&P 500 fell 41, but the Nasdaq got whacked, plunging 385 points. One day after the Federal Reserve said it would end its massive bond buying program in March and signaled 3 rate hikes by the end of next year, the European Central Bank said it would wind down its support in March as well. And the Bank of England became the first major central bank to raise borrowing costs since the health crisis began. And so, the period of ultra-easy money appears to be coming to an end and bringing with it plenty of uncertainty, says Thomson Reuters Stocks Buzz analyst Terrence Gabriel.
The question now for the markets, though, is sort of how aggressive does that path ultimately play out? Certainly, it would seem that if it's a steady, slow increase in rates, that's something that the market's going to be a lot better able to deal with than if it's a sudden increase that are quite aggressive.
Meanwhile, the U.S. economy continues to show signs of strength. New applications for jobless benefits only rose modestly last week, while factory production jumped to its highest in nearly 3 years during the month of November. In individual stock action, Lennar was down after the home builder's quarterly results missed expectations. High lumber costs and delayed home deliveries were the culprit. The stock was down nearly 4%. AT&T headed in the other direction. The stock was upgraded at Morgan Stanley, which expects the pending spinoff of Warner Media to unlock shareholder value. The stock had one of its best days in roughly 2 years. Shares of AT&T surged nearly 7%. After the close, FedEx beat quarterly sales and earnings forecasts. The express package shipper said it is taking a hit from higher labor costs, but expects the earnings outlook to improve. Reddit, the social media message board that helped fuel the meme stock craze earlier this year, is ready to jump on the stock market bandwagon. The company confidentially filed for initial public offering on this week with the Securities and Exchange Commission, according to a post on Reddit's Twitter account. Reddit was hoping to hit a valuation of more than $15 billion by the time it issued the filing, according to a Reuters report back in September when the idea of an IPO started circulating. Reddit's value doubled back in February when the so-called meme trading frenzy was at its peak. Small investors used Reddit's message board Wall Street Bets to gang up and put the squeeze on professional traders who had large bets against popular names such as GameStop and AMC. By August, its value rose to $10 billion in a private fundraising round. But even at that value, Reddit pales in comparison to two well-known peers also created at the same time. Twitter, which has a market value of about $35 billion, had more than 200 million monetizable daily active users as of its last earnings filing. Meta, formerly known as Facebook, which comes in with a $1 trillion market value, had nearly 2 billion daily active users as of the same period. Of course, one of the topics on Reddit's Wall Street Bets Thursday was the Reddit IPO, with one thread getting nearly 6,000 reactions by midday.
Turkey will hike its minimum wage by a huge 50% to around $275 per month. President Tayyip Erdogan made the announcement Thursday.
We are determined to put an end to the uncertainty that has arisen due to the fluctuations in the exchange rate and the exorbitant price increases as soon as possible.
He said it was part of a plan to address the Turkish lira's plummeting value and the country's inflation spike. Erdogan spoke after the central bank again cut its policy rate by 100 basis points to 14%. The president has pursued an unorthodox policy of cutting interest rates in the face of price rises. That has led to a sell-off in the lira, which is down 40% since the start of November, and hit household budgets. The currency slumped to fresh record lows following the central bank move. Inflation jumped above 21% last month and is expected to hit 30% next year due to the currency slide. According to Erdogan, the new minimum wage would be the highest ever. He also said the government would lift taxes on the wage to ease burdens for employers.